right, welcome to the New Legend podcast, where we celebrate vintage 4x4s, family, culture, adventure, and being a man in the 21st century. Speaking of which, we're with a man, Mario Avila. So Mario and I met via Instagram first, and we at New Legend, like one thing we really love to support is local scout clubs. We love seeing just like people moving and shaking and getting people excited, and that's really what. So he's Scout About South on Instagram.
Yep.
And to be honest, I thought that was kind of like a club. But you guys, you have a local club.
We do have a local
That's
club.
The
Yeah,
615?
the 615 local
Okay, killer.
club. Yeah.
So why I wanted to talk to Mario is because you're doing the things that we love to do, and that is being a catalyst and building community, getting people excited about vintage 4x4s. So I want to just get to know you a little bit, talk about your history.
Cool.
And just dig in, man.
Yeah,
So
love it.
okay, first we got to always start. What did it mean to you to get your license?
To get my license. What did it mean to me? Entry into the boys club.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm the youngest of 3 kids.
Okay.
My dad's a mechanic.
Nice.
So, I remember the old days in Mexico riding around without a license. But to actually get my license, that's still when high schools did driver's ed.
Yeah,
so we had driver's ed up in Chicago, and it was, I think, 14 when I got my license.
So you grew up in Mexico, or you?
So I was born in Chicago, and then I grew up in Mexico for a few years. That's where a lot of my family is, and then we came back to the Chicago area.
And so you were ripping around Mexico?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
well, that's where it started. That's where my love for international scouts, right? I didn't know this until I started getting into them, but my grandpa owned a 1960 pickup truck.
Okay.
With the vertical headlights.
Okay.
And I mean, there's a lot of family
history. Did you know, like, you knew your grandpa?
I knew my grandpa.
You were ripping around.
That's where I got my name.
Okay, nice.
So I was.
So you had exposure to that truck,
of course, and
him.
Yeah,
that's
and
rad.
I mean, more than anything, I had exposure to his old VW bus, and we used to drive that with the whole family down to the beach in Mexico.
Awesome.
Man, it was awesome. We used to have old Coke glass bottles.
Yep.
In case there was a fire.
No way.
And as little kids, like, we'd always play with them.
Yeah.
And so the little cup holder in our 68 really reminds me of that, because we would always play with them. We want to open them, right? Because you want that Coke. He's like, no, it's for fires.
It's fire suppressant. That's the best fire extinguisher ever.
Yeah.
So it meant entry into kind of like you say the boys club, but like kind of like adulthood, right?
Yeah, of course.
And freedom.
Yeah.
And so, what was your first ride? What was your first vehicle of note?
Yeah, that was mine. It was a 1983 Isuzu Trooper.
Yeah,
2
sick,
doors.
Man.
Yeah.
As we've talked, I think you and I were connecting on this yesterday, but as some of you know on the podcast I've mentioned, I just picked up an 86 Trooper. And what's rad is, like, my daughter is 17.
Okay.
And she didn't learn to drive in it, but she learned how to drive a manual transmission in the Trooper.
Love it.
So,
Love it.
It was so funny. Like, I was taking her out, and other dads, you can maybe relate to this, but at the same time, like, it's an 86 Trooper, which is a super generic vehicle, but I care about it.
Yeah.
And she's just like bucking this thing hard, and I was like, Liv, pushing the clutch, man. And she's like, what? She's waving her arm out the window like, go around.
I love it. I love it.
So that's rad. So you got the Trooper 2-door, right?
Yeah, 2-door.
So rad.
It was amazing, and it was. I remember my first long ride in it. So I had it, and I went to college up in New Hampshire.
Okay.
So I drove that thing out. My cousin helped me put a radio in it for the long drive.
Yeah.
And as soon as I pulled out of my dad's garage, the radio cut off.
Now, you were still living in Chicago?
I was still living in Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah. We were in Chicago, in Cicero, just south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
And I pull out, and it's my sophomore year in college. First year I could have a car up in New Hampshire. So I pull out, and it's like a 15-hour drive, right?
Oh, no. It's funny.
Radio goes out. Little 4-cylinder,
And they're not powerful, dude.
No, they're not powerful. So I'm going up and down hills. I will tell you that it was a rough ride.
Yeah.
It was a rough
we talk
ride.
about this all the time. And you and I will dive into this. I have one more question about driving. But that a little bit of... There's something... One of the uniquenesses of an original powered vintage 4x4 is a little bit of suffering, and how, like, kids today, like, they're so pampered, and it's not their fault, but they're just raised in a prosperous country, in a technology context, and life is easy, man. Everything is air conditioning, everything is power. So I love the experience of letting my kids' friends get in the Scout, and they're like, "How do I roll down the window?" It's like, "Where's the button?" It's like, "No, you crank that
right
vibe." So, and a little bit of like, my kids grew up in the back of a Scout, no AC, like just sweating, and it's like builds character.
It does. It really does.
So, what do you think? You're a mover and a shaker. What do you think is going to be the future of driving? We're at the Scout Nationals right now live. So where does this fit into the future of driving with autonomous things and all?
I know. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, right? I talk a lot about that with my work. So I teach and run a center at Vanderbilt University, focused on entrepreneurship and social impact.
Okay.
So a lot of the sustainability issues come into play, right? And I think autonomous driverless is here, and it's going to come. I think where it's first going to affect our long haul truckers.
Yes.
Which to me, I see that. We talk about community, right? And we don't often talk about the realities of a shift in that industry and what's going to do for small town America.
Huge, man.
Right? Because every time we stop, there's a gas station, but because of that gas station, because of truckers, you have a school, you have a restaurant, you have services, right? So I think, unfortunately, what it's going to do is it's going to decimate small town America, and that's something that people don't really think about. Mm-hmm. So, and there's a whole rabbit hole of our thoughts around what that's going to do for community and the economy, especially in rural America.
And they talk about jobs like this. I'm glad you brought it up too. Like that technology kills jobs, but it also creates just shifts. And so it'd be interesting to see like how those truck drivers that are maybe driving now don't drive, but they move hub to hub to help load.
Correct.
And
yes.
Like,
I think it's 100% a shift. So two things, right? One is, you talk about a shift. So a lot of people talk about that in the loss of jobs because of technology, say at a Panera or where they have digital ordering. All it really did was it shift what we call in operations the bottleneck. It went from the register where you had to wait. Now, instead of hiring register people, they hired people on the line to make more food.
Okay.
So it actually increased the number of jobs.
That's
it just shifts, right? So I think with driverless, I think it is going to shift. I think we have to know that it is going to come, and how do we prepare for that change?
That's right.
And then from an economic perspective, it's I think something like 46 of our 50 states, the best paid job is
truck driving. I know.
Trucking.
And I also like one thing I appreciate because those are like for example, I remember I've driven truck stops are like my second home. So I've driven hundreds of thousands of miles and getting scouts, just being in this industry. And one thing I always see is like thinking about the health of those guys. Because one thing that's unique about males in general, we say being a man in the 21st century, but we haven't actually talked a ton about it yet on the podcast. It's a fairly controversial topic.
It is.
It shouldn't be, but it is. But one thing that's unique about males is their ability to sacrifice their bodies and their health for a task.
Yeah.
And I think of like our military, and not that women are incapable of that at all, but there's a unique thing about maleness that goes like just to suffer. Because for example, my wife camping, she goes, why would I suffer? We can have AC.
Yeah. And I have kids.
Exactly. Absolutely. But she's just like, why wouldn't we just have a comfortable mattress? I'm like, no, sleeping on the ground's the best. It builds memories. And she's like, you're just stupid. So I think it's just maybe it has to do with that. But these truckers, it just like, I remember seeing this dude. He had 2 64-ounce, those giant mugs, like full of Mountain Dew.
Yeah, Mountain Dew.
And I'm just like, bro, you're gonna kill yourself, man. He's like, this lasts me 1,000 miles, and then I pee in another container. And it's like, this is a unique, it's a unique thing.
It reminds me of our long trips. So we drive, blue collar family. My dad's a mechanic. My mom works as a librarian aide up in Chicago, and we would drive from Chicago with the 5 of us, right? My three brothers, my dad, and my mom. From Chicago to Mexico nonstop, 36 hours. Oh, the favorite trips were I forget the year. Maybe it was a 70s or early 80s maroon Cadillac Coupe de Ville.
Really?
That thing was a boat.
That is a boat. And you and your 3 brothers?
Yeah, my 3 brothers in the back.
Four,
and my mom and my dad in the front, and smoking the whole way down with the windows up. But it was like riding in a country, and you'd have the old school songs going.
That's hilarious.
And truck stops and truck stop coffee. I mean, those were the days, and those were memories, right? Hey,
It's huge.
if you stick your family in a car, and to me, a vintage car, because something's gonna happen,
Right.
And that's a memory, and that's probably what you're talking about with the mail piece of it.
Yeah.
Is it becomes a memory, and I think there's no better way than to get to know your family and your kids than to put them in a box
Yeah.
for hours.
Particularly and say like, and we're not going to be on iPads.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Whole
It's like we sang, we prayed. You know,
That's
we
so
would get
rad,
mad
man.
at each other.
Yeah.
We would fight.
Yeah.
And I was always
So
in the middle.
Close, so close.
And we're not small guys,
Right,
so
right.
it was tight back there.
Yeah, that's funny
Yeah.
because like I was talking to someone else about anything Scout particular, but New Legend as well. Like just about the idea of branding your company.
Yeah.
Because for the first 10 years, we did everything we do now, but we
Yep.
just never took a picture of it. So like no one knew it existed, and
Yeah.
it's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
But we were just too wrapped up in the moment and in the experience to think about it. And as an entrepreneur, it's something you have to think
Yeah.
about. But yeah, like so many of those memories, man. Like so that was our first marketing piece. I remember it very clearly was like everything's more memorable in a Scout.
Ooh.
And it's that idea
Yeah,
that like
it's true.
going to doing mundane things
Anything.
become memorable.
Yeah.
And I bash on like minivans and stuff, but it's not the same. And I know like there will be a generation of kids that go, I remember like cruising around the Honda Odyssey. It was so rad.
It's like my dad's, my grandpa's.
So
VW
it will
bus.
be memory
It
making.
will.
I got to be fair about that.
Yeah.
But to today's kids, cruising in a Scout,
Yeah.
cruising in any vintage 4x4, or even an old Cadillac would just be so
Man,
rad. An old
so
station
cool.
wagon.
Look, for me, I'm choosing between the three Scouts. I have a 1.5 mile drive to work.
Yeah.
And even that one,
Yeah.
right, it's an adventure.
It's
Gotta
an
keep
adventure.
messing with the choke. And,
Yeah, so let's
you know,
get into that.
yeah.
So, future driving, one other thing. So, I also think it'll hit cities first.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
You'll see like
Yeah.
they're already like closing off roads, making pedestrian malls and just different things.
We're changing our whole university at
Interesting.
Vanderbilt. We have 330 acres in the middle of a city, and we're getting rid of parking lots and roads to
Really?
be more walkable. So it's happening.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah.
And I actually don't have a problem with that.
No.
'Cause I do think it's
Yeah.
great. I love walking around
Yeah.
cities. And cars are just like, go to New York City, dude. It's like a hazard, man.
Yeah.
So, what was the transition? So your grandfather had a 1960. How did you and you have all these memories and
Yeah.
like just kind of older cars. So what transpired to go? Hey, and you're married.
Yeah, married,
I've got
yeah.
some kids.
One kid.
One
yeah.
kid. Okay, how old?
10-month-old.
10-month-old.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But
he's
he
getting
loves
started.
the Scouts already.
Already, man. That's gonna be
Yeah,
rad.
no.
Okay, so how did you go? I want to get a Scout.
Well, I knew about the Scouts for a while, right? So I had, being an entrepreneur, the ups and downs.
Yeah.
I didn't have the cash at the time, and I just had a lot of projects that I was working on as
Yeah.
we were building our companies. And as I went back to the university about, it's been 4 years, I had a little bit more freedom to know what was in my next project.
Yep.
But I had the Trooper. Then after that, I had a
So you kept the Trooper for a
No,
while.
I didn't.
Okay,
I didn't.
okay.
It blew a spark plug, and then I left it up in New Hampshire. And
Okay.
then I acquired a 2-door Jeep Cherokee.
Okay.
And then my brother had an old early '80s Jeep Wrangler. So I've always loved these 2-door trucks. So and then I acquired my dad's Toyota T100.
Okay,
It's a
yeah.
98.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It was one of the last
Those are
ones that
good
was built
trucks, yeah.
in Japan.
Yeah.
So I was just looking for my next one, and my 2007 Camry just didn't.
Yes, that's going to be
Yeah,
my question.
yeah.
So, to you, for some reason, because of the context
Yeah.
of your upbringing,
Yeah.
there was a value to like driving was not just transportation.
No.
So you said like I got to get something special,
I-
even though like I know like when people, not everyone has the means to get
Yeah,
a
of
Scout
course,
or
of
do that.
course,
But
yeah.
but even in that context, you're like I still want to get something kind of
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I
yeah.
like that.
So then that was it, right? And I had been scouting for them, and they were just the wrong price point. It just wasn't the right time.
And now at this point of your life, you're in Nashville.
I'm in Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been there for 9 years.
Okay.
I wasn't finding the right one. So out of all places, I was back in New Hampshire for a college reunion. And I drive up to an old inn in Norwich, Vermont,
Yeah.
which one of my buddies that I played football with, he was a
Okay.
kicker. His family owns the inn. So I was going over to have a glass of wine with
Yeah.
them. And
That's
as soon as
cool.
I drive up, I see our 79th Scout sitting outside
Yeah.
with a for sale sign.
No way.
And I was like, no.
Right. What's the chances?
Yeah. Guy wanted $6,000 for it.
Honest truck. It's good,
Yeah.
decent truck.
Good truck.
Yeah.
Got it for $4,500.
Nice. Good for
So
you.
that was our family Scout. Yeah.
Nice.
And then the snowball happened.
Yes. So, and that's like a funny thing about, particularly, I don't know if it's unique to scouts, but of scouts, it's definitely a thing in the scout world. Like if you have one, you have three or something. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
My same story. Like when I wasn't a scout guy, muscle car guy, moved to California as an 18-year-old kid, like met this girl who just bought a brand new 92 Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting married. I hijacked the Wrangler, but I never like loved it.
Yeah.
It was just like, it's not great. No. Then I drove a Scout, and then within 6 months, I had 3 of them.
That's pretty much my story.
Okay, really.
So I bought
So you went quick.
Yeah, I bought the Scout, our Scout 2 that we call Harvey. He's a classic gentleman. Got him in June.
Okay.
And then I think it was September or October. It was right before my buddy's wedding. We got Scooter.
What color's Harvey?
Blue.
Okay. Yeah. I know
blue,
that truck.
And he has
this rad.
baby blue pads. Plaid seats.
Yeah.
Scooter. Then we got Scooter from Oklahoma from a retiree.
And
she owned this
Scooter.
thing.
That's this one.
Yeah, it's this one. So 68. 2-wheel drive.
Two-wheel drive, which is kind of rare, but cool.
And we're still deciding whether it's a 152 or a 196.
Right. Yeah.
We'll figure that out. But it cruises on the highway.
Awesome.
So Scooter is just fun. It was a retiree from Oklahoma. She owned it for 30 years.
Wow. Did she have it painted or you had it painted?
She had it painted.
Okay.
So she went with like an 80s BMW green.
Okay.
So it actually works with the two-tone and the brown interior.
It looks great.
Tan interior.
Yeah.
Looks great, and the top looks cool.
Yeah.
So that's I've done very little to this.
Okay.
And then right after that, like literally weeks, there's a guy in Nebraska that had the 69 that we call Belle, and she is a beast.
That's a bigger
it's a 304 4-wheel drive, and we picked that one up in like November. Yeah. So within 6 months, then we had 3 Scouts.
And then talk to me about the Genesis, because this is one thing as a brand that we really love seeing, and we want to get behind it. And this is interesting. I want to get your take on it, because like one thing I don't like about muscle car culture is like what you do with a muscle car, and this is, I don't mean to be disparaging, I'm not, but it just seems like you get the muscle car, you work on it, which is cool, but then you drive it to a parking lot, a short distance, and then you get out a lawn chair and you sit by your car,
or you trailer it,
and then sit by the car. And like, and this, we're at the Scout Nationals. You should kind of Google some images. I've been doing some stories. This is a little bit like that, but this is also, so I like it because how else are you going to see this many Scouts in one location? No. So getting ideas,
all different varieties,
meeting cool people. But what you have, and this is a national event, and it's a bit of a pilgrimage, but you started. So let's just explore the local Scout clubs or Scout communities, which is not a new thing, but there's a new generation of people interpreting it a different way. And so you have these 3 Scouts. Was this in a vacuum, or you seem like a community catalyzer? I love that.
It wasn't, right? So one of my previous co-founders had a Scout, a beautiful Scout down in Nashville. So they've been around, but I think until I got my Scout, then I started to really kind of push and catalyze the community. They've been here, right? So Doug Scott, he's a mechanic. I refer to him as my second father, because anytime I have a question, we FaceTime, he helps. He's worked on all the Scouts.
And he, just to give some context, he's like an OG dude.
Oh yeah, he's one of the judges. This is 29th nationals for him.
Wow.
So he is totally an OG.
That's cool, man.
He's been working. He said his shop was 80. I think he opened that shop up in the early 80s. So he got his first Scout in 81 or something like that. So, and that's all he works on. And
even back then?
He
was a Scout specialist.
Well, back then, he was doing rock crawlers, right?
Really?
It was all rock crawlers back in the day. And he said, he went to the bank. He was telling me the story earlier today. His first Scout, he didn't really know much about them. He went to the bank to get a $500 loan.
How funny.
to buy a Scout.
How funny.
Yeah. So, I think because of that, and him and his wife are just amazing, and we have this community. So within a year,
you're really fortunate to have that, because I can't tell you how many of our Scout customers we ship them back their trucks, and they have no infrastructure. They have
nothing.
I'm nervous about having shops do any warranty work, because they ruin stuff. It's like,
we have our club has a good probably 30 owners.
So did you start this club?
So
or
we
you stumbled
started
into
it. So
Okay.
we started, right. So
Awesome.
Jerry's one of our members, and he's managing the Instagram page for them.
Okay. Which
but-
is what the Scout 615
Yeah,
Scout Club. Okay.
615. 615 is the area code
Yep.
in Nashville. 615 Scout Club. So I started hashtagging 615.
Nice.
That's the other beauty of working, right? So being an entrepreneur and working in a business school is you're up with all the trends, and my students always keep me going.
For
right?
sure.
Yeah.
Some of my kids do.
Yeah. So so I started hashtagging 615, and I started the WhatsApp group 615 because I just wanted to bring people together.
Yes.
Because everyone's
Love that.
amazing. The families, right?
Yes.
The history, and we
Right.
get some of the old timers come to our drive-ins, and we learn from them. They learn from us. And everyone has their own personality in their trucks, but it's such a good community. And I
Yeah.
think part of it is Nashville's so centrally located in the country, and it's, we've been tagged the IT City for the last 5-6 years. So
Right.
we have a lot of transplants. So Jerry, who runs, who's taking the lead on our club, is also from Chicago.
Okay, nice.
And then Jeff's another guy. So we have some early 30s to kind of mid 40s that are the heart of our club right now.
And technology folk. I mean,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
focus,
No,
but
no.
but social media savvy,
exactly.
sharing. I love that.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do?
What do we do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you just sit around in lawn chairs and
Pretty much.
you do? Do you ever go on drives or?
We haven't done that. We did
Okay.
the last drive. We went to a Jeep meet.
Okay.
So it was like 600 Jeeps, but the owner of the property is about 10 acres, 15 acres they have with a cafe up in Gallatin, Tennessee. They love Scouts, and so they
Cool.
gave us our own section
Nice.
for our trucks. We do that. Most of it is drive-ins. We all have families.
Yes.
So we typically
Okay, I
do
like
them
that.
on the, yeah, we typically
And do
do
you
it on
like
a Sunday.
families end
Oh
up
yeah,
coming?
yeah, of course.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
that. I love
so the
that.
families come out. I have a couple friends that own coffee shops in the city. So
you're moving around.
we're moving around. So
that's
we're looking
cool.
at
I like that.
different
I like
shops.
that.
So Southern Grist is an awesome brewery in Nashville. The owner also moved in he was in California, then sold a couple businesses.
Yeah.
And then came down from Chicago.
So you're
and he
also
started-
supporting local
of course.
businesses.
So that's a big
helping-
part of
I
it,
love
right?
That. I love that.
I think place is important.
Yep.
And the more that we're disconnected through technology, and
Yeah.
some people might say you're more connected,
No.
right? You need to be able
Right.
to do this, right? I
Right.
need to be able to sit a foot away from you,
Yeah.
shake your hand,
Yeah.
and just, the old saying, feel the heat of the engine. If it
Yeah.
doesn't, it's not real.
That's good,
right?
man.
So, technology enables us to come together and sharing the stories and doing that, but nothing beats sitting in front of a Scout. Or having to push your friend because reverse is gone.
That's interesting, man. And I think why it's so important. And there's a book that I recommend by a guy named Timothy Carney, and it's called Alienated America.
Okay.
And it's about the erosion of social institutions
Yeah.
and the fallout that kind of, particularly with the alienated males.
Yeah.
I think women have
yeah.
done a better job
Yeah.
of preserving community and being social. And
When they talk, right?
they talk, right?
I mean, the difference between my wife, the way she talks to her friends, there's an app called Marco Polo, and it's all video chats.
Okay.
So they do a lot of Marco
Huh.
Poloing. The amount of times I talk to my friends about, besides sending dumb texts to laugh at each other,
Right.
never.
Right.
I'll tell you this, since we're on that topic, and to me, there's both sides of it, right? Manhood and being tough and getting your hands dirty. The other one is, I legitimately cried on Thursday morning as I was packing my Scout because it reminded me of my trips with my dad.
Yeah.
And at that point, I used to hate it, right? Because
That's right.
mean. He's a mean old dad. And it was it was beautiful, it had the jack and going through the fluids and
Yeah.
making sure I had
Love
everything.
it.
And it took me 2 extra hours, but those are the memories, right? And we
cool,
don't talk
man.
about that. We
Right.
don't talk as men about,
Right.
the challenges that we're going through.
That's
So,
right. And so that's why I appreciate, because I think, for example, some of the statistics, bowling clubs are obviously going down,
yeah.
church attendance going down, particularly in more rural Rust Belt,
yeah.
just those smaller towns that are, it's funny, some of the indicators show in affluent communities, there's still
some
robust
of that. Yeah,
connection. And so I think
Wow.
personally, these things are more. The Scout Club
Yeah.
is more important than we think it is, and I know it's not a new thing, but it's got a new importance with
Yeah.
this disconnectedness of social media.
I agree. Well, I think when you mentioned that, I have to actually read that book. 'cause
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
pretty good. It's pretty powerful.
And I think in Nashville, right, it's in the core, it's pretty affluent. And so you see, we're in the Bible Belt, right? Some say we're the belt, the belt buckle of the belt.
Okay.
So you see a lot of community and faith-based churches and groups, right? So you get a lot of that community feel. I think this divide between rural and urban is real.
Yeah.
I also think that, whether you're on the right or the left, something like a harvester, right? Whether you immigrated to this country or you've been here for generations or you're Native American, right? These were built here, right? And they're America, and we're continuing to work on them. And I think to us, it brings that together.
Yeah.
And we have conversations about the trucks and our families. And in this day and age, man, you can't turn on the radio without seeing, right? Trying to tear us apart. And I think something like brands like New Legend and hopefully Scout About South and the work that we're doing is just trying to build community.
I love
and
it.
It's all about, that's what it's
So
about.
important.
It's like, come in and help each other and get off your phone and actually connect in person.
This is interesting, because it's a great conversation. I really love what you're doing, man. I love your story, and particularly like taking an entrepreneurial bent to it, because I think that is cool. So what's interesting is that, like, a friend of mine, Matt Mooger, who's like Scottie Pippen.
Oh yeah,
that's the rad dude.
We
kind of become a good friend. So there's a similar movement happening in LA.
In LA, yeah.
And what's interesting, this is interesting, because a lot of the trucks that we build, so the ethos of anything Scout, when I said it makes more memorable, the second marketing, and these are just, I hate saying it was a marketing play. It's not. They're just us discovering what we value and talking about it, was introducing the Scout to a new generation of people. And it's funny, we talked about truck stops and I might have talked about this on a previous podcast, so I apologize, but I was somewhere in Wyoming or North Dakota and went to this gas station. I was looking up best food in whatever town, because I love food. And that's another connection point of people.
Oh yeah.
And one that has not changed in thousands of years, like since in all of the dawn of human history, meals have connected people. So I wish we could be sharing a meal right now.
Yeah.
Might be annoying for the podcast listeners to watch this.
That hot dog was pretty good. It was good. The Chicago style and the Polish. So great.
But the brand values introducing it to so the truck stops. So I go to the best food and whatever. It took me to a gas station, but not like a barbecue joint in an old gas station. It was like this megaplex, pizza restaurant, brand new, state of the art, gas station, which in Ames right now, and it's a little bit sad to me, but in Ames, the last service station gas station just got bought and they demoed it. And it was like they pump your gas for you, wash your windows, check your oil, air up your tires, and they have like 2 bays of service station. So that was when these trucks were made, Doug, in the 80s, even up into through the 80s, you could own a Scout, not be a mechanic, and still have the infrastructure to
be able to get them fixed,
to get them fixed, and like go like, hey, it's running like junk, and they're like, oh, did a quick tune up, we're all good. So that has eroded. That's gone. Like finding that's why I say having Doug is so important, because they don't exist.
No.
And so anything Scout, we said we want to bring it to a new generation of people. That new generation of people doesn't have the time. They're busy raising a family, running businesses. So that's where we started integrating technology, which does bring simplicity and reliability, but it does, like, I love what you guys are doing, is it also builds competence and confidence to go, especially as a dude, to go, I took care of my own stuff. Like I fixed my own car, and with the help of friends, like whatever. But that's unique. So in LA, it's like, it seems like more of the trucks are swapped, and what they want, and this is a different angle that I encourage you to bring to your club.
All right.
Because it's some of what they're doing is they want to get out into the desert and take trips. And like do the same club experience, but let's go camping. Let's go cook meals. Let's feel the dirt in our hands. And so
and we got some great trails, so we got to do that.
We got to do that.
Yeah, we got to do that in Tennessee.
And I want to be a part of it. So if you do it,
we should do it.
And that's what the inspiration of the Terribles was. The Terribles are like original old rescue trucks. We have rules about, like, we want to keep them old tech, because it's another interesting thing about mankind. Is I talked to someone earlier about this inevitable, almost damning need for progress. Like, right? It's part of human. It's part of. I don't know if it's.
What's the next thing?
It's always next. So you get this Scout and you go, Like, oh, like I need 33s now, and then I need this, and I need this, and it's endless.
Yeah.
So I appreciate some of your vibe of just going like, no, I'm just gonna leave it.
Yeah.
It's rad. Just keep it going. Preserve it.
Yeah. Again, nothing against the guys that want. It's your truck, right? And it's you.
That's right.
I just
and it's cool. Like, I mean, our business wouldn't exist without without
exactly.
progress.
Yeah.
But the terribles, we've said we're not gonna we're gonna embrace some progress. Like, for example, we just put locking differentials because we were going to Moab and like we don't want to we want to be able to do the trails and not get. But you can debate that. But carburetors were like no fuel injection.
Yeah.
Because that's a big shift.
There is a lot of them.
So like we're going carburetors because then you have to know how to tune it, time it, all that kind of stuff. And like off road, it makes you have to learn how to drive because it's like cutting out on side hills and down hills.
Yeah.
So we'll get some trucks out to Nashville. You plan the trip. We'll be there. We'll help you.
And we have a lot. We have a big crew, right? We have Levi. We'll get Manny from down in
Manny's
Scott
the man. I love that guy.
Yeah. We'll get him. Although I don't know how much he'll want to put his rigs in the trail.
He will.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to.
You have to.
So you'll get a paint chip here and
Who cares?
there. No, but that's what.
And we're not talking like, and this is a new, because like the era when I got into scouts, it was about
rock crawling,
cheap rock crawlers. It's like I can't tell you how many scouts have been killed by just that cheap rock crawler because you could buy them for $500. They have Dana 44s. You put a spring over, some lockers, and you're hitting the Rubicon and bashing the mess out of it. So I'm happy that that's kind of gone away because like now we got, they're rare. The scouts are getting fewer and fewer. We got to preserve them. So the type of wheeling we want to do is just exploration.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting guys using an axe, pocket
get out
knife.
there. I mean,
dude.
I've loved I will tell you that the terrible videos, man, that hits home.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like, so one of the best trips. One day I'll have to get you to come down with us. We go from Guadalajara, which is our home city, second largest city in Mexico, to Puerto Vallarta.
Let's do
it's
it.
about a 3-day over.
Dude.
Now those are just ATVs. Man, it's
got to be amazing.
Pristine and again, right? You have a crew of guys.
Man, that'd be fun.
And a bunch of cousins, and you're sleeping in tents and going over.
It's bonding,
man.
Yeah,
it is. It really is.
And there's a place like this is interesting. We're talking about a lot of topics that I'm passionate about. Because there's something unique, and women will say this too. Like there's something unique for women to hang out with other women.
Yeah.
And talk. And have those friendships. Yeah. There's something special about dude bonding.
Yep.
Like, and it's funny. I like. That's why I love the terribles. Like, they're kind of gritty. My daughters come sometimes. They're cool, but my wife's like, why would I want to go on that trip? It's like you go be with the dudes, you know?
Yeah.
And
well, there's a great article I'll send to you. Is New York Times article. She wrote it on the importance of taking trips separately and marriage and being a good partner, and like your wife doesn't want to do that, right? My wife did not want to drive 8.5 hours from Nashville to Troy, Ohio on a scout, top. But it was my bonding time with my truck and memories and being around with my friends here. That's important.
It's important, yeah.
That's important to be able to do things that you're in love with, and you're not often going to find. There are a few things that you could do separately, and I think if you have a passion for something, if someone wants to do fly fishing, go and fly fish for a weekend. My wife would say,
dipping your toes in that, by the way?
Yeah. No, I don't.
Okay. I just got a fly.
See? Now we're...
Because I love it. It is cool. I don't fishing can be boring, but fly fishing is kind of like engaging.
I know. It's like therapy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Like, at the same time, my wife and I are celebrating 25 years, and we've definitely, she's awesome. And I got married when I was 19.
Whew.
And so like we've definitely had some ups and downs. We've had phases, but at the same time, I've learned to, like, she's just an amazing person, and we have date nights and we take trips together. Yeah. They're not, she's embraced, like, we have a Suburban now that we roll in because it's a little. We had a
saw
Scout.
That one. It's a nice Suburban.
It's rad. Yeah. It's a 91 square body, but it's got a little better air conditioning, a little better stuff. And for her, that's important, and I appreciate
of course.
that.
And you have right. It's a back and forth, and we've been together for almost 15 years.
Yeah, okay.
And same thing, right? It ups and downs, and you change over time.
That's right.
But I will say for a lot of the guys that are thinking about it, and they might have that issue with, I don't know how my wife's gonna feel about it. Look, we all need advice. It's the reality, and what better than to be around a family focused group of guys that you're working on a truck. We could be doing so many other things,
dude. destructive things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're hanging out talking about old trucks and our, our grandparents.
Yeah, it's
to me, it doesn't get much better.
I appreciate that. I love that. And that's like what New Legend is. New Legend, and throughout our brands, we've always valued, like, I'm a down-to-earth guy.
Yeah.
I'm not like but at the same time, people are people. And like, just because you run a very successful company and you have a ton of money doesn't mean they don't have the same desires to go like, I want a vintage truck, but guess what, dude? I don't have time to mess with. So make it drive right. Yeah. And one thing I'm seeing as a trend, which is really rad. So for example, on our social media analytics, it goes between 90-10 to 91-9 men to female. Yeah. But we're seeing more and more, particularly wives that are stoked about it. Yeah. Like, and so the husbands are going, I want to scout, but my wife wants to drive it. Yep. And what's interesting too, very recently, I've had 3 builds that are a husband going like, my wife wants it. This is for her. Yeah. And so that's super cool.
We have a great scout owner that's a woman in Nashville, and she's awesome. She has, I don't even know how many followers she has now, probably 25,000-30,000.
Wow.
And she hadn't really posted. She had posted something on a story about it, and I was like, wait, is that a scout? And she's like, yeah. So she's one of the members of our club, and it's
great.
Well, I think so. That's what for us, right? Kind of what you were talking about, kind of the ethos of anything scout for us. Kind of the ethos of Scout About South is to really get out there, right? And we're trying to really think about, the South and Americana, and just whether you're going 5 miles and sitting on a chair, or you're cruising down the old Tennessee dirt devil roads. It's just about scouting new places. I can't tell you how many.
That's right.
This trip up here could have been like 25 hours if I would have stopped in every old gas station, in every grocery store, and taken a picture. Because most of America has never done that, right? Has never just driven around and realized how beautiful country this is.
That's rad. And like, we have a couple different, I'll reference a couple of episodes, but Tom Hill from Iron and Resin, we recently did an episode with him. Okay. He gave out a good challenge that I've not brought myself to. He's like, take a road trip with 0 destination. That's tough. Because like, just going, like doing what you're saying, like, I'm just going to go drive around I'm gonna go for 2 days and just go end up where I end up. Pick a direction and head that way and stop in cities. And what would be rad, and we should do this at one of the meetups, like one of these trips, is say like, let's all put our phones away. Let's get out the paper maps and like, let's just find towns and find. Yes. Another challenge that Ben Mars, another episode, he gave us a challenge, and Ben, I've not done it yet, so. And this has been like, that was episode 3 or 4. We're on 20. Is travel, like take it on an air flight. So I travel for business, and he does, and I'm sure you do. It's like check your phone like in your bag, like don't have it on
for the flight
or the airport, because like so many people, you look around
like this.
Now my wife, she's like, because I criticize it, like, see, people suck, like they're just all like this, and I'm one of those people. And she's like, look, to be fair, in 1960, everyone was like newspaper.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
It's part of human nature to have just that the privacy or whatever. But I love that, guys, like you're pushing to toward interaction, engagement, and community. And so, but one other challenge, not a challenge, but a reflection. My friend Billy Parks, who's born and raised LA, through now Scouts and just meeting a new group of people, he has gotten to travel and experience the Midwest. And there's a different, like the coastal, an encouragement, not preaching, no judgment, but coastal people, like you're saying, man, get out and get into the middle of the country.
Get into the middle of the country.
It doesn't take much, because there's California. I mean, there's rural areas in California. There's rural areas in upstate New York.
Agreed. It's different, though.
It's different.
I mean, that's where, a lot of my friends and on Instagram, people were like, man, be careful. What are you doing? You're crazy. What if something happens? Like, did you bring a gun? All this stuff. And I was like, wait. I'm going through the back roads in the heart of America. You know how many homes I pass, and you know how many people I'll stop if I break down?
For sure.
That I could pull my rig into their garage, and they'll let me. They'll help me fix it.
They'll help you, right?
They'll let me stay.
Right.
That because that's what it is,
so cool.
And they will.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's safer to go on the back roads than it is going on the highway.
For sure.
And just you'll pop in anywhere. I got so many thumbs up, and
isn't that cool?
I mean, so many people that walked up. older gentlemen that were like, man, you just made my day.
That's cool.
Like, I haven't seen one of those things in
That's rad.
30 years.
That's cool,
yeah.
man. And that's another aspect of vintage 4x4 ownership that I haven't really thought about was you're kind of like one person at a time rebuilding faith in humanity, because it's really good people. And it's like, yeah, we were in Wisconsin taking this trip on the Trans-Wisconsin Adventure Trail.
Ooh, I haven't done that.
We have to do it, because I've done it twice.
Good.
Not all of it, because it's...
Well, if I pick up that diesel Scout in Chicago, then I'll drive it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'll meet you.
Okay.
But that's northern Wisconsin's just gorgeous. But we got there and Luke's terrible. Literally, like, hit the first 100 feet of dirt driving, he blows up his rear axle.
I saw that one.
Yeah, and we met this.
Yeah.
We pulled into this driveway, and the farmer's like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" We're like, "Oh, sorry, we're in your driveway." And this dude, he's like, "Let me go get you a sandwich." He brought us food, drinks. He's like, "What do you need?" Like, he was an older dude. He's like, "I'm not gonna get on the dirt and help you," but he was so. We were there for like 6 hours, and he was so helpful. And
it really does. You know, I think a part of it is like anything. Right, so yes, we have technology, and you could see, and you know, for those of you that are watching the videos and watch the pictures of the show, there's nothing like being here. It's nothing like getting in an old truck, the smell, right, the feel, and that just takes you back, and it'll take you back to wherever you think it's taking you back.
That's right.
Whatever memory you had. For most of us, they're great fond memories, and it doesn't. A picture is not going to do it. You gotta touch it. You gotta smell it.
Yep.
And I think that's what this does for people. And driving through Middle America, I mean, it's you see people's eyes light up and that smile on their face just because it brought back. It's not because it's a cool looking Scout.
It's not. It's
really, the memory that they have from that time period.
And what's awesome too is this. I know I've always talked about this a lot, like the power, the way that like a machine, that's just nuts and bolts and metal, but like how powerful, like for your kid.
Yeah.
Like your kid will have a powerful connection. That thing is like a pathway to you. And I have my dad's Scout, and he passed away like 8 years ago. But it's like I'll never sell it. No. And it's weird that like that becomes the carrier of meaningful things and how heritage, and values,
all of it.
And all that stuff.
Because you remember, right? It's like your dad's hand that got cut on a bolt. And
cut off. My dad lost a finger on that truck.
Seriously? I mean, that's where. And it's crazy, right? So now that we've kind of started to build a brand, and we get a lot of people that reach out to us, and it's interesting the ones that do. So there's one that we're gonna pick up in Massachusetts, and the guy reached out and he said, "Hey, I love what you're doing with the trucks. My dad passed away, and his Scout is sitting in the driveway since '94, hasn't been driven, and he's like, we'd love for you to take it."
Yeah.
Right, and it's because they want to see that.
That's cool,
keep going.
man.
And the woman that I bought this from in Oklahoma, I send her pictures of my kid in it and all that. I send her pictures from Nashville, and she loves it because she wants it to live on. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
And it's those memories. So
that's great.
That's what it's all about.
It's good, man.
Yeah.
So good. So what's next for you guys in the club? I know. So I'll tell you one thing that's going to be next. It's going to
we're going to
be a
some,
trip.
Yeah, yes.
Off-road on dirt with camping.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
It's going to be rad.
Yeah. We might need some drivers because if we have 3 or 4 Scouts, I need to.
I don't think that would be hard, do you?
It won't.
No. Get your buddies.
No. Get them out there.
Yeah. So you're going to take a trip. What's next? Yeah. What's next for you personally?
Yeah.
You're excited to raise your kid.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
Everyone
talks about projects. Our hope, if we get lucky, is to have another one.
Okay.
I think two. It's a good, 2 in the front, 2 in the back.
Exactly. Otherwise, you'll be getting a travel all.
Yeah. What's next? You know, I love my work at the university. Mm-hmm. So I get to be inspired and help teach the next generation. Right.
Yeah.
I work at the graduate level, so most of my students are from their late 20s to early 30s. And they're just eager and going to continue to just lead a lot of organizations in our country. And it's just an amazing institution to be at an institution like Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
Again, right, similar, very, highly branded, great institution, great family from America's past. And I think, so that from that perspective, it's just great because a lot of what I work on, those projects take on. I mean, the biggest project for me, obviously, the coolest and newest is our son.
Yes.
I mean, it's the best.
That's
amazing. There's nothing better than to see your kid grow up. And it's only been 10 months, and I can't wait.
It just keeps getting better.
So from that perspective, I think for Scout About South is just being able to do this and just continue to build community and help others. And I think, as much as we're connected, it's
Right.
I can't count the number of people that send us messages that are looking for the right mechanic, that are looking for advice.
Yep.
And it's just about helping each other out.
That's
And,
awesome.
and to me, it's continuing to build that brand and just help have more people out here that builds more and more community, and they start to pop out in other parts of the country.
Yeah. How many members in the club do you have?
So right now we have about 30 members.
30
in
members,
in
okay.
the 615 Scout Club.
Great.
And then the Memphis crew is starting to get their own
Okay,
club together.
okay.
Yeah, which is good, right? I mean,
you'll
you
start
should,
fighting.
yeah. And then we'll start fighting. That's what we talked about. 615 is very Nashville. So we
Yeah.
have members that are in Franklin and other parts,
Yeah.
but kind of the iconic center of the state is Nashville. So that's where it's at. And I think it's being able to do things like this, because
So great.
These are the memories.
Yeah.
And I will say, though, I am one to take a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
Because as I get older, you have so many memories. And
Yeah,
they're
that's right, that's right.
They start to blend. So get the biggest iPhone with the most memory you
Yeah,
have, and
just
take
go
as many
nuts.
pictures and videos of your kids
Yes.
and your rigs, because you'll
That
start
is
to
weird.
forget.
So what's interesting is my son was born in 97.
Yeah.
But even like technology has changed so fast. We have very few pictures
Yeah,
and videos
because
of
that,
my
I know.
kids.
I mean, I don't
Now
have
it's like I got pictures up the wazoo.
One of the things that I haven't done a great job of is printing them.
Yes.
There's
That's
something different
special
about
too. I appreciate
of
that.
having those books, and
Yeah.
although I will say that having I guess I'm in they call this micro generation Zennial. I was born in '82, so
Okay.
I wasn't born with technology, but I'm
Right.
very comfortable in it.
Yes.
I am pretty glad that I didn't have cell phones and cameras readily when I
Right.
was in college.
Yeah, I have this saying like, how do we get back to the Sandlot? Like,
Right?
just not like just. It's hard, man. It is the hardest thing in the world. Like my kids, little parenting advice I'll have for you too, as a fellow dad, is like we waited till freshman year, which some people hold out longer, and I have respect.
Wow.
But freshman year before they get a phone.
Wow.
Um,
I mean, I see kids like
and they
6,
can't
7.
have social media, no
no
social
social
media
media, yeah.
until probably 16. And that's been, because our kids, my son was born in 97, like I said, so he didn't grow up on an
Yeah,
iPad.
yeah.
He was starting to get like the StarTAC, Motorola, like, what's this? Yeah, this thing's sweet.
The Razor.
Yeah, that's right. But
They're coming back, man. Those flip phones.
yeah, they are. Because I think people are going like, I'm tired of being addicted to my phone. And so anyway, new
Yeah.
topic. Next topic, I want to get together
Yeah.
next time I'll
Yeah.
come to Nashville.
Yep. We're gonna do it.
I'd like to talk about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Just how important that is across our culture,
Yep.
from the inner cities to rural
Yeah.
to like, I have a lot of thoughts on education.
Yeah.
You must go to college, like trap.
Yeah.
We can talk about that. We'll talk kids.
Yeah.
We'll do some more stuff.
Yeah.
But Mario, thanks so much, man. I'm so
This was
happy to
great.
meet you.
Yeah.
And,
good to finally meet you in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thanks for having the desire and the motivation and the go to get people together and catalyze community. Thanks for being on the show.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the
Hey, buddy.
inspiration.
We'll keep follow Scout About South on Instagram and just shoot them a message.
All right.
Encourage them.
Thank you.
Thanks.